There is this one advice that a lot of the older generation tend to give the younger generation in regards to relationship. And I think it works for the older generation, but not so much now the younger generation, and reasons why. And that could also be one of the big reasons why a lot of younger generations are breaking up and relationship is not lasting. And they say that the number one ingredient to a long lasting relationship is tolerance.
Oof.
Don't believe that to be a good advice. That's not where I'm coming. Because to me, tolerance signifies sacrifice. Tolerance means, hang on, how do I say this? Hang on. I was actually about to create a content in regards to that, right? So basically, it's basically enduring certain things that you dislike or you disagree. Enduring would indicate that, yeah, okay, you get to maintain the peace somewhat and you get to keep the relationship. But however, the relationship isn't growing. And enduring probably works for the older generation because maybe back then they didn't have as much choice. Things like divorce was frowned upon, but today divorce is more acceptable and people have a choice. I can leave the marriage. I don't have to endure. So therefore, instead of tolerance, I think what is required is to reframe it and not call it tolerance, rather calling it acceptance, but with building healthy boundaries by understanding. So once you create boundaries, you recognize and you realize that, okay, there's certain things that I do accept. There's certain things that I just will not accept. These are red lines that will not be crossed. And therefore you need to communicate that. So if you're going to get into a committed relationship, you're going to get into a marriage, I think there is a need for you to sit down with your future partner or future husband or future wife, future spouse, and discuss certain very, very important fundamental issues. I personally, for my clients, what I've done is that I've created a workbook for them. And say, in the future, if you want to get into a relationship, this workbook is something that you want to sit down and work with people because shouldn't be tolerating certain things. And I think Tony Robbins was the one who said, you get more of what you tolerate. In life, we need to get more of what we tolerate. So if we're going to tolerate shit and nonsense, then you're going to continue getting more of it. And for how long are you going to continue enduring it? When we have all these temptations and all the other choices that are available to us today. So I think that taking the advice from the older generation to a certain extent, just because they've had a relationship for more than 50 years, more than 40 years, more than 60 years, and if they would tell you, oh, it's tolerance, I would disagree. Because maybe during your time, enduring was the only option. But today people don't have to endure. So right now what you need to do is draw boundaries and then accept certain things. There are certain limitations in your partner that you're just going to have to accept. Once there is acceptance, there is peace. Enduring, there's no peace. There is this battle that is this